It's a pleasure to introduce Alexander Gruber as our next speaker. He is from the Technical University in Graz, and he is working in research data management as a research data management officer, and he do a lot of support. Also, he works as a data steward, supporting really the people who are having the needs to do data management. He have a lot of experience here, and he's also in the project FAIR Data Austria, and I had an honor to work with him in this project. His main topics are also in support, but also training, and he will now tell us a little bit about the importance and the challenging of lab notebooks. Please, the stage is yours.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Raman. Thank you for this warm welcome. And at first, I have to apologize for my bad voice today. Yeah, nevertheless, I will give it a try. So, yeah, thanks for the invitation to the Phaidracon2022. Today's topic is enabling data reuse with the appropriate metadata documentation using the example of eLabFTW. So before I will show you eLabFTW, I would like to talk briefly about metadata. And a really important point for this Phaidracon is the reuse of data. And there is no reuse of data without a proper metadata documentation. So what is metadata? Metadata is data about data. And there are really different styles of metadata. So everything that is describing in somehow what you did during your research or describes the data itself is metadata. And this can be identifier, it can be system requirements, it can be parameters for simulation or for experiments, really, really different styles. And all of this is necessary to reuse data. Without it, it's not possible. And why is this documentation so important? So why is documentation itself essential for the reuse of data? Because the reason is at the time of publication, so at the end of a project, the information level is really high, at its highest point. But with time, this information content decreases. Maybe slowly, maybe rapidly, but it is a fact that it is decreasing. And at first you forget specific details about your problems and the project, and then it goes on to general details. And at any point of this this time frame, also accidents and tragedies can happen and destroy all of your data and documentation if you do not have backups or another form of proper documentation. And of course, retirements and also death are ultimately the points where the connection gets lost and a lot of knowledge gets lost forever. So I think it's clear that is important, and data itself is really useless without a proper description, and this description is given by metadata. And this is especially important when we're talking about the long-term understanding of data. So things we have created years ago or decades ago, as if it's far away, we need more information. And also, if you have versioning of publications or of data sets, then a proper documentation is more necessary. Also, it is an essential element to facilitates the data exchange itself, because without this documentation, nobody is able to use it. And if nobody is able, then of course you're not interested in an exchange. So to foster this exchange, you of course need a proper documentation. Also, different kind of styles and formats are available. Some of them are also machine readable, machine actionable, and this is especially good if you work towards search algorithms and also automation. And I think it's clear at the point, and it also is maybe really one of the difficult points, that you have more initial work if you try to do proper documentation, if you try to do it from the start, if you're thinking about how you structure this stuff, especially in a DMP. All of this, if this work is extra work at the start, but it simplifies your future work. And of course, it also saves you time later. So in some ways, it also has something to do with project management, where you should put a lot of time at the beginning to work smoother and more and better through your whole project. So there are different kinds of data available, simulation data, but for the sake of this presentation, I will concentrate on laboratory data. And just for laboratory data, we have different kind of data sources. So we have data from devices where it was automatically generated. We have protocols. Maybe we have documentation from regarding quality issues. Maybe we have databases with materials behind it, or chemicals, or whatever. We have sample probes. We have stuff. So we have also the institution or the facilities, the information about where data was generated. And this is connected, of course, with different kind of formats you can have. So we have digital formats, you have data in analog form, and then you have different file formats as well. And you can have open data formats, you can have proprietary data formats. So there's practically no limit, and to have information about it is necessary and is all connected to each other. Then we have the data processing. So how did the analysis go? So do you have did it by hand? Did it manually? Did you use the specific software, or did you write the code by yourself? So plenty of options here. Also the devices, and of course somewhere this data has to be stored. So, but where? Do we have file servers at our institution? Do we use do we use an external service? Do we have appropriate databases? Are they open or not? How can I reach them? How can I find it? And of course, maybe this data is not in digital form, but it is paper-based. And all of this stuff is, as I said before, connected to each other. And when we're talking about the usage of data and the reuse of data, all of these points will arise at some point of time. And what we do with it, okay, we do a lot of stuff. We write reports. We use statistic analysis. Availability is a point, and also audits at the end of a research project with a specific amount of budget can be important. And with an appropriate documentation, all of this stuff is easier to handle. So now I move on to these electronic laboratory notebooks. So why are they a key element of doing this metadata documentation? Because ELNs can be a way to document all of this stuff in a proper way that it can be shared and used, not as a paper, where a paper laboratory book that has its limits, but here we can have more or less a hub with where all of this information is coming together. And there are differences between these solutions, because there is not one ELN out there. There are different styles of ELNs, and all of them have different areas where they fit best. And with this chart, you can see that it doesn't matter which ELN you use, you have always an integration into your data management process. So you always have to put some effort in and integrate it in your workflow, integrate it in your scientific culture, in your current data management processes. And this needs time, it needs training, and of course, for the long run, it needs maintenance. And then it depends. So regarding flexibility, you can adopt existing solutions. So open source solutions that have the possibility to change certain parts. Of course, you can use commercial solutions, they're already existing, or also open source solutions that are existing. And when you have enough budget and time, of course, you can have your own development that fits directly to your needs. So there are plenty of options available, but it depends. And it depends which expectations you have. So what do I need to manage? Do I need to manage experimental data from clinical studies, data from simulations? So also, what do I want to manage? Is it necessary to also manage a project at the same time? Or is it okay just to just to manage the data management part itself there? Or do I need project management? Do I need tools for an audit? And also, what results do I expect? Is it okay just to have the documentation there? Or maybe I need an analysis infrastructure too, integrated. So it depends really on your expectations. But I cannot say this. Yeah, I have to mention this every time. So data management itself is not just using as many software as possible. So data management can be a thing that is some kind of workflow, is something that is a part of your working culture, of your scientific culture. So just using a software is not data management. You need also proper training and a feeling for what is good scientific practice. And there is not, as I mentioned before, not just one ELN out there. So there are different solutions, and every one of the solution has its own area of expert. Today, I would like to briefly present eLabFTW. It's the ELN solution we use at TU Graz. And yeah, I think what has every ELN in common is that documentation increases reproducibility. So as we mentioned before, metadata is somewhere the documentation, and documentation is absolutely necessary to reuse data and also, of course, for reproducibility reasons. And the main focus of eLabFTW is really to take notes, to have a data storage area too, and also to have a simple organization structure. So you can have also a scheduler in the software, so you can organize certain stuff like lab times or the use of an instrument in there too. In some way, it's really a replacement of a paper laboratory notebook, because everything you have done in a paper lab book, you can do in the eLab as well. So it really tries to replace this stuff. But of course, it has some advantages, and you can search. You can search in your whole eLabFTW for different entries. You can share your entries with colleagues that are using the same software. And all of these things are backup too. So as I said before, there can be accidents and issues, and without a backup, everything is lost. And I already mentioned this, you can collaborate. So in one lab book, in a paper lab book, of course, you have to hand it around. here we can work together on different entries, on different experiments, whatever we can share them and have also a right, an access management. And I mentioned this before, there are different solutions available, but at TU Graz, we host as an institutional solution for the whole university. We have eLabFTW. And these are a few examples how we can organize things in eLabFTW. On the left side, you can see the browser, as you can see it in the browser. On the right side, we have different, information from a JSON editor file. And I will show you this now directly. So it's not a real demo, but I will. I have some issues with my computer right now, so we have to wait a little bit. Sorry for that. So I guess now you should see it. That's our starting page when we enter eLabFTW, so eLabFTW.tugraz.at. Yeah, all of our researchers are allowed to use it. And I will just log in this tool with our TU credentials. In future, we will have single sign-on here, so we don't need any basic authentication anymore. Okay, of course, I have also an issue with logging in. Always this when you do a demonstration, you can have issues here. So how it works. But you see here is an overview about all the experiments that are available in my team. So eLabFTW is organized in different teams. And this is a team we use for demonstration and also for workshops. And this is our example of the workshop content. And this entry more or less represents an experiment. And in this experiment, we wanted to do the measurement of temperature distributions in our labs. And we have here the classical documentation like you could have it in a Word document. We have also text, and you can also insert tables, pictures, whatever you like. And then we have also files attached here. So we can have any kind of data, software, files, audio, video, scripts, whatever we like, we can attach to here, and people can download it if they're needed. We can also give your comments if you like. We do not have an analysis software here. So if you want to analyze stuff, you have to do it with another software. You can see here, this is one of the participants one of the workshop participants and one entry. And you can see here, he added certain stuff. I can also edit this because I have the access rights to this entry. And you can see you have a basic editor like you would expect it from a Word file. Then I can add here certain steps, which can be pretty handy if you have things you have to check and uncheck. I can also link items here that are connected to my experiment. Like here I have a temperature sensor and an infrared thermometer. I also can attach files here. I have a JSON editor, and I can also load in the data. And as you see here, we have a temperature file. As I load it into the JSON editor, and then I can check what is in there. Okay, I can see I have different temperature values here. And I could also change them if I like. What I can see too, I have also a database where different kinds of database items. And the structure is like the one in the experiment section. So this more or less depends on what you like in your database. So is it just instruments, or it's chemicals, or it can also be tasks if you like. So cleaning a lab maybe can also be a database item. And then you have your team where you get an information. So today it's already Friday, so the lab book also once weekend. Unfortunately, I can't show you. I never had an issue here before, but yeah, like always in a demonstration. Normally you have here in scheduler, you have an easier scheduler overview where you can just put in your information about where you want to book an item, maybe one of these temperature sensors. Then you get information about your team, so who's all in your team, and you can send a mail directly to of your team members.
I have a question for you. So you have done these lab notebook with a lot of different kind of data and data sets. Do you have any challenges seeing for some special kind of data sets, or you can handle these very smoothly in all kinds?
So right now, we had never had the experience that some data set was not able to handle here. So you can upload it, and normally it will be connected to your entry. The real challenge is that you can also use APIs with eLabFTW, so you can automatically create entries and also upload data, also download stuff with APIs. And the challenge here is to write scripts that would fulfill all of the needs our researchers have, because we also had cases where people asked, it would be a nice idea to start an experiment, maybe with a machine, and when you start a machine when you start the experiment, that you automatically trigger a script that then creates an entry, and when it's finished, it will move all the information directly to eLab. And in theory, this is possible, but what you need are proper scripts for that. So that is the real challenge here, and I think this will be, besides a proper documentation and manuals of the whole tool, because there are many more options than I presented today. This will be the other real challenge, to have these sets of scripts available just for you as a researcher to do small adaptations, and then work more efficient than just do the documentation in the web interface.
That's really interesting. What you talked about, that the dependency on the automation, because we had talked a lot also in this year's roundtable and in the roundtable last year. Last year we had this about APIs. This year we had about standards, but we came very soon from the standards to automation, so the scripts and the software. And I think that's an interesting topic also. We should focus on more the dependency between data and the software of data.
Yeah, I think it's also added value for the researchers, and added value is always a good argument for trying things out and give it a chance for using it.
Yeah.